morning, everybody. Today is August 16th, 2020. I'm Will McDonald here in Adelaide, South Australia, and I'm here to talk paintball collections, paintball stuff. It's just a little show that I threw together a little while ago just to give us all something else to engage with these weird COVID times. There's very little paintball being played, and I just wanted to kind of create more content for people to engage with. Now, early in the chat, I've got my dog from back home in Charlottesville's offering some input, and I got Connor Johnston, a PB athlete. Thank you guys for being here nice and early. I wanted to start with a couple of quick shout outs. Today is my buddy Chris's birthday. Technically in Australia, it was his birthday yesterday because we live in the future, but Big Chris, happy birthday to you. Big Chris is sort of the patriarch of our team back in the States. And I miss hanging out with him, and under these current circumstances, it's probably going to be a little while before I see him again. And then I also saw this morning is Jonesy's birthday. Dr. Jones, I'm pretty sure Jonesy was my first interview on this show. So happy birthday, Jonesy. I'm pretty sure you will find a way to make today a good day. So just a quick, whipping through the sort of podcast situation. Starting with Play the Game podcast with Tyler and Marcelo. They've had a few episodes recently. They had Dave Cheney on, who's an expert in sports marketing. It was really interesting to hear his perspective. He works with New Balance and Under Armour, big companies like that, but he's also an avid paintball player, and he was sort of giving his input as to what needs to happen to ensure the future of paintball and help it grow. But then on maybe more of an appropriate scale, they also recently just had a chat between the two of them, Marcelo and Tyler, just about the mindsets on the field during different phases of the game, and how to go about finishing off games, how to start games, and it was much more perhaps technical and around building your own personal game. It was very reflective of Marcelo's book, which you should check out if you haven't, Paintball IQ. Yes, Mom and Dad, I have read a book. What else have we got? The Playing On podcast with Carl Markowski. I've been a fan of that one for a long time, and just recently they had Chad Boucher on there. Now, it was interesting to learn about the origins of Houston Heat, or rather sort of the recreation of Houston Heat, because apparently it was a team from, old school paintball back in the day that they kind of revamped it. He also explained the origin story of and very interestingly, in their conversation, Carl was flirting with the idea of returning to the game and what it might take to get back out on the field, and he sounded like he started to convince himself, which was very interesting. And more locally, we've got Scott Marden, who we'll be hearing from again today. Episode 24 of the Down Under Paintball podcast with Brendan Heath. I don't know Brendan personally, but I do know that he's one of the Bush Pigs, and he's a ref that's been reffing for many, many years with Refs Inc., as well as the Action Pro Refs. And in this episode, they also do a breakdown of the most recent Total War game, which again, I haven't had a chance to listen to, but just looking at the video footage, it looks like a pretty wild event out there. And Scotty's also put out there, don't forget, if you want to get involved in a Q&A episode, send him some questions. He's happy to answer anything paintball related or not. Connor, awesome if he comes back. Wonder what team though. I don't know that he's actually going to come back, but they were talking about if he were to come back, how would he go about it? And the more they talked about it, the more it sounded convincing to Carl. And with his family and stuff, it would probably be the most local possible team that he could play with. Amanda, Brendan's a straight up good dude. Great to chat to, I'm sure he is. And if you vouch for it, I know he's a good dude. All right, and then what else have we got? Speaking of Connor in the chat, I think I hinted this new jersey drop from Connor last week, but I don't think I actually showed this. I think this got dropped sometime in the week. So there's maybe it's another photo. Maybe I have shown this one of Connor's latest work with PB Athlete. And if you haven't checked out what he's doing, he's also dropped some really awesome hoodies, which I'm going to get around because they look pretty mint, high quality, I know. So check out what Connor's doing. And also, not to be biased, Lee Yeti Henderson, he does a little bit of work with manufacturing. He's creating some masks to share around the community. I should have some pretty soon to be able to show off. But he's also, he does other soft goods, jerseys, head wraps, headbands, that sort of thing. And just this morning I saw on Instagram that he has dropped a teaser for his joggers with a Y, a soft J, which I'd love to check out. So good on you, Yeti. Keep up the good work, and I'll do my best to get around you as well. Okay, so Connor, your next jersey's being released soon, I assume is what you're telling me there. Now, let me talk about Jared Baker. Jared plays with, now he's East Coast Hawks, played with Explicit. He's been on the show a couple of times. He's got a mad jersey collection, and he loves the whole jersey collection thing. And since I've kind of made a connection with him, he's really kind of helped me out and pushed me to kind of keep this thing going and try to find ways of getting it better. I've been calling him the Hustler and the Whale Hunter because he has been hoping to try to land me a couple of sweet interviews. I reached out and I got Tyler Harmon a little while ago, but with Jared's help, he's been trying to hustle some extra support. And only just yesterday, he shot me a message, which I was really excited about. And it's with, sorry, I've lost my notes. It's with Brandon Unger. And I've got this photo up here because you can see Brandon is there on your screen. I'm not sure if he's on the bottom right. Probably be on the bottom right. And he's sitting next to Patty Gleason. And I chucked this photo in there because Patty Gleason sent us some content a long time ago. It was just a couple of photos and a quote. So these guys are in the Seattle Thunder camp, and I've got a lot of time for these sort of up-and-coming giant killer teams, and I can't wait for the league to start up again so we can see these guys continue to grow. So Brandon sent me this video, and I think he did an excellent job. So take a second and check out Brandon.
What's going on, guys? Brandon Unger here with Seattle Thunder and Team Adrenaline. I'm here today just to show you my jersey collection, and now this is in no particular order, as I just grabbed these out of my closet to show you guys today. So without further ado, let's get started. My first jersey that I'm going to show you today is actually a Seattle Thunder jersey, but it's very special to me because it's a Matt Jim jersey. Matt Jim is a huge influence in my life, not just on the paintball field, but also in real life. He always has really good advice for me, and I'm not sure where I'd be right now if I didn't have some of those pieces of advice from Matt. I think this jersey is from 2019 World Cup. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's from. And like I said, this is probably one of my all-time favorite jerseys just because of who I got it from and whose name's on the back. Now the next jersey I have is probably my second favorite, or maybe my tied for favorite jersey. This is going to be my personal Aftermath jersey that I wore through the 2018 season. This is when we won the Semi-Pro Series Championship in the NXL. This jersey I specifically wore, I know for a fact, in NXL Vegas, NXL Dallas, and then I think we got new jerseys for Chicago. But this one is definitely my favorite because of the great memories I had on that team, obviously winning, and just for the opportunities that I had playing on this team. We always wore our jerseys, we always wore the jerseys without a last name on them throughout our prelim games, and even into Sunday we wore them without our last name, and we'd only put on the jersey with our last name on it when we go to the pro field for finals. But for me personally, it's more important, or what is more important, is the name on the front, not the back. So this jersey brings a lot of good memories back. This is also definitely one of my favorite jerseys. Next one is also an Aftermath jersey, but this one's gonna be a little bit more of a throwback. This one has a little bit more of the throwback design with the Aftermath logo and the pinstripes here at the bottom. I got this jersey when I first joined the team in late 2017. I think they wore this jersey like for 1 or 2 events. I never got to wear it for an event, but I just used it as a practice jersey. It's pretty light material, and it's definitely one of my favorites that I like to show off for anybody who wants to come and check out any of the extra jerseys I have. Next jersey that I want to show you guys is one of my divisional teams. This is from way back when, Arizona Chooch. Now this jersey is from I think 2012, 2013 era. That was right when I was junior, senior in high school. Now this is a Phoenix Suns throwback jersey. For those of you who don't know, the Phoenix Suns is a professional basketball team here in the States. And this is a little bit of an old school 90s throwback jersey. Knockoff, I should say. It's actually a Kyle Winslow jersey. Kyle is one of my good friends who I played with on this team. He's traveling overseas in the military, so he couldn't bring all his gear, so he gave me all of his jerseys and his paintball stuff. So I keep this one in my closet for safekeeping. Definitely also one of my favorites. Next one is actually the very first jersey I was given, and this was given to me by a good friend, Alan Goulding, who played on the Los Angeles Ironmen. Now I got this one, I want to say, in the 2017, or from the 2017 season. In early 2017, I tried out for the Ironmen and I made their practice squad. So I was with them week after week, grinding it out, learning from those guys, learning from Todd, learning from all the guys on the team. And Alan took a good liking to me. So we were really good friends. He actually lives over in Europe, so he would travel out for all the events and for practices. So I always enjoyed hanging out and talking to Alan, and he hooked me up with one of his jerseys after one of the events. So I was super stoked to get this one. My next and my last one I'm going to show you guys is actually one of my favorite divisional teams I played for, Arizona Elite. I love the Digicam on this one. I have a lot of good friends and good memories from this team. Actually, my current roommate played for this team as well, so we all pretty much talk still, and we all hang out. It's definitely one of my favorite jerseys. This team was created by Victor Gamboa. You might hear his name come up when you talk about G2. He's also in the Dynasty camp, so he's a pretty big name nowadays in the paintball scene, and he's definitely one of my #1 guys and one of my day one guys. So big shout out to Victor. So that was my jersey collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a good day, guys.
Cool. How generous was that? So thank you, Brandon, for doing that for me. A couple of notes on Brandon. First of all, he clearly has unassailably good taste in art. Did you see the Banksy behind him? I love that. Also, you absolutely nailed that brief. I think sometimes when we talk to people who collect jerseys and they almost apologize for only having some of their own or only a couple, but you can clearly see how important those jerseys are to Brandon, and that's what it's all about. So for whatever reason you collect your jerseys, there's reason behind it, and there's always a story behind it. So Brandon, thank you for doing that for us. Any other notes I had on that one? Oh, yes, and of course, you might know Brandon other than from playing with Aftermath and Thunder. He also came over to Australia and played with the Outlaws, which I neglected to mention in the Super 7 series. And this is the photo that Patty Gleason sent a little while ago, and I just chucked that back in there because Patty also gave a lot of respect to Matt Chim, who I don't know personally or anything, but both of these men are sort of talking about how much of an impact Matt has had on them, so he must be a pretty good man. All right, now we are going to talk to Scotty Marden in just a minute, but I just thought I'd whip through some of the things that I've spotted in the marketplace, some things that have been posted up for sale or to show off or whatever it might be, just very briefly here. So what have I got here? I did spot, so we got an Ironman Damian Ryan, who's my favorite dissenter in paintball. There's a J-Rab Impact jersey in there. Looks like it's signed, I believe. An Avalanche jersey. And then we got a Tim Montresor Impact jersey, which would certainly be sought after. Having a quick look here. Amanda saying, great collection from Brandon. I love the Suns knockoff. Yeah, the Chooch. I love that. I love it. Connor saying the Aftermath jerseys are worth so much. I don't doubt it. Especially the first one that he showed off was really nice jersey. And my dad saying I got a strong signal today. Great. Well, I'm glad. Unfortunately, this lapel mic, which I keep kind of convincing you to use, Connor, keeps shocking me, which is a bit of a worry. All right, what else have we got here? Another Impact jersey. Impact heavy today. Greg Sewers, Impact jersey. Now, that is quite a wall. There's a bit of Ollie Lang. I think there's it's cut out. I don't know if it's a Fregosa or a Frage. Yeah, some old school stuff. I don't know if that's for sale or just somebody showing off. And I love this. Okay, so this is an AC Kids jersey, which has just been released. And if you reach out to them, you can get one for yourself, I believe. But this is like a kids team that's part of the Dallas AC Diesel camp. And I just think that is adorable. AC Kids. I think that's awesome. And then big money in this one. I don't even know where to begin, and I'm sure you probably can't even zoom in well enough to see that, but Richardson, Nicky Cuba, Thomas Taylor, Tim Montresor, Bob Long. Again, don't know if they're selling that or just showing it off. Yeah, Connor, I think it's the mic has just been through wars, this mic. Many years of chucking it into gear bags and going out and doing interviews and sticking it in players' pockets and running it up through their jerseys while they're playing. I wouldn't blame the company. It's probably that I've just beaten it senseless. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a second. This is the thumbnail that I made for today. But I think, first off, I'm just going to jump into the second half of my chat with Scotty. So Scotty was showing off some of his SWAT jerseys last week, and we're going to pick up where we left off. I love talking to Scotty about this stuff because he's very honest about his paintball career and his relationship with paintball, whether that's talking about the high joys that he's experienced as well as like the trials and tribulations, because there's hardship out there. And I love that sort of honesty. And if you do, you should check out his podcast that he's dropping every week, Down Under Paintball. All right, hang in there for another chat with Scotty, and I'll see you on the other side.
So this was one that I got. I never actually wore on the field. This was our the next sort of SWAT jersey. I thought I had one somewhere. Yeah, like this was our, like, I'm pretty sure this was like maybe an anniversary jersey, or maybe I wore this just towards the end. Yeah,
25 year anniversary or something.
Yeah, I feel like there might be a jersey somewhere, because I know Mike he gave those jerseys out to all the ex-SWAT players. So I must be somewhere still in a bag. But so this was the one just before, but it's pretty similar. It just doesn't have the printing, but you can see, because I didn't play in this one. I don't know if Mike still does this with his jerseys. I haven't had a new Paintball Assassin jersey, but they have this like gauntlet.
Yep.
And I just hated it. It didn't work for me. I like really loose fitting stuff, and
because you're old school.
Yeah, that was Mike loves it, and some people do. Some people love it, but yeah. So on all the jerseys I played, if I could get away with it, I always cut that out. And just like sometimes we used to cut padding out of our jerseys, all sorts of things. Old school guys, doing all sorts of weird things. So my last SWAT jersey. So this was when I came back, 2015. It was a really fun event, but yeah, this is the inside of the jersey, as you can see. I know. I remember I sent this one to you. So this is the shredder jersey, as we sort of nicknamed it. This is the one that I got cut out of this was literally the last SWAT jersey I ever wore on the field.
That's what I want.
There you go. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
All right. Now, why is it in such a state?
Yeah, so this was the reason I pretty much wrapped up paintball. Yeah, it was 2015 was the year. Like I'd had a break. It was when I first met my wife, and I guess it's the reason why she became my wife is because she told me like, you talk about paintball so much, you obviously care about it. She's like, what are you doing here? You need to get back out and start playing again. So 2015, I got out, and oh man, I was on that year was so good. Like I'd been rescinded the captaincy role, so I was just a player for the year, and I was just having a ball of a time. Ben Simpson had left the team, so there was a spot in the snake for me again. So I was just back at home, my favorite position on the field, charging along. Had Justin Cornell guesting with us that year, and him and me were just gelling all the time. Whenever we played together, we had such a time. And something that I'd seen happen before so many times, something that I'd actually thought, if this happens to me, I'm going to play it different. But I dislocated my shoulder I dove into the snake, and it was the secondary move. It was an angled beam, put all the weight down, and my shoulder popped. And I always said, I'd seen it happen so many times. If my shoulder ever goes in a point, just and we're up, you got to sit there and just let the team win. That was always what I always said to me. If your shoulder pops when you're playing, you just got to let your team win. But and we were charging that point. Like I think we were G2. Like we were going so good, but oh, the pain! I just couldn't hold it, and yeah, had to just start screaming, and yeah, they stopped the point, and then they called a paramedic, a specialized paramedic, and they were able to actually put it back in on the field.
Mm.
They took me to the car park, put my shoulder back in, and then they said it's back in now, so it's up to you. Like you can come to hospital or you can stay and watch. And uh, yeah, that was probably my biggest mistake was staying and watching.
You reckon?
Well, if I'd gone to hospital, I would have gone through as emergency, and they probably would have found the tear that had happened earlier. And whereas the way I went through things, it was all elective surgery, so it was a bit more expensive. Yeah,
Okay.
so there you go, kids. There's a lesson. So this one doesn't have my name on it, but it's probably my dearest jersey, and a lot of people, like hardly anyone would know it, but this is a jersey, just nice and simple. You can tell I'm from the 90s, a
Is
90s
that
kid.
is that just a black long sleeve,
Yeah, just a
like
black long
t-shirt?
sleeve with the Goonies. So
One-eyed Willie.
yeah, that's it. Adam actually knocked these up for us. We had a 3-man event coming. That yeah we played, and we wanted to play as the Goonies because me and my two good mates, Luke and Tate Viner, we just wanted to put a 3-man team in. And so this jersey here is probably the team doesn't really exist, but it's just such a cool jersey. And we had so much fun that day. This is this headband that I've worn for majority of my playing days.
Does that say? Did that say
It
Abyss?
it says SWAT.
Oh, okay.
So this is a one of one, yeah, limited edition SWAT Sandana. Yeah, one of the perks of being, the action stable team or whatever you want to call it, like home team, is that yeah, I get to muck around with the screen printer. So I went out the back and printed myself up a headband, and yeah, I've pretty much worn it every time I've ever played since. So this is my my juju. I've got. So this is my the other thing I'm collecting. I don't have as many as anyone else, but there's my Super Sevens, my
Series rings.
three series rings, 3 years in a row. Not as many as everyone else these days, but yeah, they definitely meant a lot. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, yeah, the first one meant just as much as the last one, and yeah, I was lucky enough to be the captain. Then eventually was a role that did sort of push me towards leaving the sport. It's hard to be the captain of any team, making
Yeah.
the decisions where good and bad, good or bad, they weigh on you. I guess what people always see as well is like they look at 3 rings and say, oh yeah, you guys rocked it. But I played pro for 9 years, and yeah, 7 years of that on SWAT. So there was 4 years of, well, three before we won, but there was a lot of a good like before we started having success, like there was for my career, there's probably a good 5 years of just grinding and not really getting anywhere. So yeah, that's there's a lot behind the series as well. So there's a couple of other things I wanted to show off.
Please.
So these ones also mean quite a lot. So I've got lots of trophies, and unfortunately, we're moving around at home, so a lot of them are in boxes at the moment. But this one is one that means a lot. So in 2011, I won the Tolson Memorial Award. So Tolson, was an ex-SWAT player, someone that was just like a really cool, really cool guy. Unfortunately, did pass away in 2006. Yeah, Mike gives that award out just once a year to someone for contribution to the sport. And so in 2011, I won it, and then this one
you won it just recently too.
Yeah, 2017, I won it again. So yeah, I was really happy with this. Like, yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't there to accept it, but yeah, the winning that once was enough. But winning it twice was crazy. I was doing a lot of, back in like 2011, I was doing a lot of coaching clinics and stuff like that. So, it was good to sort of be rewarded or just shown, some gratitude for that. Cause I was, I really enjoy, it's sort of why I'm doing the podcast now. And like, sorry to talk about my show, but if you have been paying attention, I'm going to start doing some like coaching things because something to me it's always about the future and growing the future and the new guys. I want to see, the next, like Gaddy and like even the guys that are in novice now. I want to see them like crushing in 5 years. I want to see those guys like doing better than we did. There's one other trophy that I got, and this one there was years that I was really bummed I didn't win it, but I finally won it once, and that's the Pro Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So I finally got that for Super Sevens in 2012. Yeah. Yeah. So it was good to get sort of recognition that year because it is hard to, go from being the snake guy and, I can't even keep count of the amount of kills I had that event to being like, I probably shot 3 times as much paint than I normally do, but I didn't really shoot many people. I just sort of helped my guys shoot people. I'm one of those guys that needs to be like all in. So like I've got to be there every Sunday playing, trying to be the best I can. Otherwise, like, what am I doing here, sort of thing. Like I was looking forward to being able to take every Friday off and like actually be there for all 3 days of the event. And now I've got the my podcast. Like I feel like I'm a bit more attached to the community again. So I actually sort of understand the storylines going between the teams now. So, I was looking forward to this season as well because I felt like the most attached I have to paintball in a few years. So I'm chatting to all the guys all the time. Like talk to some of the Marauders boys from time to time, and like the Eskimo guys, always keeping up with them. So like I was ready to put 100% into like my new role this year. But it sucks. But anyway, we'll look to next year. So this was one that I got. I never actually wore. On the field, this was our...
Well, there it is. Looks like it started to loop at the end there. Sorry about that. Looking to next year, I can kind of relate to Scotty's sentiment there. I too feel like there's been a few things that we've been building here in South Australia and in general that we're just getting ready to launch, and now we're sort of in this holding pattern and hopefully looking to next year. Try to be optimistic. The fact that we can't get out there and play paintball and grow the sport is not the worst case scenario. There are people that have it worse. But I do look forward to seeing things back up and running and having Super 7's webcast up and Scotty doing his thing. Scotty's such a generous guy. I do appreciate all of his support with that. I've never actually seen him play live. But he's such a sort of a giving, open dude. When you just chat to him, it almost kind of contradicts what I've heard about him on the field. He sounds like he's quite the killer out there. So this is the thumb that I've created, the thumbnail for this episode. And I just wanted to throw this up there for a couple of reasons. One, I often spend about as much time making these as I do preparing for the show itself. I'm kind of really geeking out on it. And sometimes I think they come together pretty sweet. Yep, Connor saying, yep, hopefully we'll be back next year. I certainly hope so. You too, I'm sure, are also feeling that, like you've invested in stuff, you're kind of building something up, and now holding pattern. So anyway, on this, I've taken a lot of pride in some of these thumbnails that I'm doing, and as you can see, I often work my son Hamish into them. But in putting this one together, I was kind of playing on the theme of the old SWAT colors and the Seattle Thunder, and I also realized that the two guys I had on today's show both number 22. So there that is. Now, I wanted to follow Scotty's lead. I don't have any other jerseys to show off. I've got some in transit, but I don't have any here. But he kind of broke away a little bit from jerseys, and he showed off his headband, and I thought I'd show off mine. So I do have this Rockin' Cox Sandana headband, because I'm guessing 2012 we became, over in the States anyway, we became a factory team for Sandana. And even though Sandana is sort of like this, the old school Sandana and Venom wear is highly coveted in the paintball community, I think this was a time of sort of like reinvigorating itself, reinventing. I think that the company had kind of like changed hands. And as awesome as it was to be a Sandana factory team and to get our name printed on a Sandana, it's not quite the same as the old school Sandana. The quality's not quite the same, and it's, these are not going to boast the same value as those older ones. I think there's a lot of mass proliferation of these, but still incredibly proud of this one. And since Scotty branched off and showed off his SWAT Sandana, I thought I would show off my Rockin' Cox Sandana. Doop. So it's not the same as the old school ones, but still pretty happy about that. Still a good one to have in the collection. I've given away a fair amount of my gear over the years, and that one is not going anywhere. All right, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Connor, my mom and my dad, Amanda, thank you guys for being here and chatting to me this morning. Thank you to Brandon Unger. Absolutely thank you to Brandon Unger and Jared Baker for making that connection for me. And Scotty, always a generous man, and I look forward to future projects with you. Meantime, tomorrow, 7:30 Adelaide time, whatever that works out for you. Dwayne Nichols is doing all the hard yards, PBHQ, filling you in on all the ins and outs of paintball in Australia and overseas. So take some time to tune in with him, and I don't know, have some banter in the chat. It's always a good time. All right, everybody, do the right thing, stay safe, maybe wash your hands, and I'll see you guys next week.